In China, there is a fascinating and mysterious character. While she may not be familiar to many Westerners, she is a well-known figure in Chinese culture. This is the fox spirit. The fox spirit, sometimes called a fox demon or fox fairy, is a supernatural being in Chinese mythology and folklore. She is a type of Yao Guai, a creature often described as a demon or spirit in English. According to legends, if a fox practices and cultivates for 500 years, it can gain special powers, like transforming into a human, living forever, and even influencing people's thoughts. After 1,000 years of cultivation, its abilities become even more incredible, making it almost impossible for ordinary people to defeat. China is full of stories about the fox spirit. These stories go back thousands of years, even before the Qing dynasty, around 221 BCE. They became especially popular during the Tang and Song dynasties. By the Qing dynasty, the classic book Strange Tales from a Chinese Studio had many stories with the fox spirit as the main character. Over time, these tales became a major part of Chinese culture. Why is the fox spirit such a big part of Chinese imagination? In traditional Chinese thinking, the fox is seen as a very clever animal. Even though it's not strong or fierce, it can use its intelligence to get what it wants. Modern science doesn't suggest foxes are much smarter than other animals, but the Chinese have long thought of foxes as sly and cunning. People also believed foxes often used their cleverness to play tricks or do harm. This idea may come from how foxes are quick, elusive, and hard to catch. Some people even noticed foxes acting in ways that seemed human, like imitating sounds or movements. These observations led ancient Chinese people to believe that if a fox lived long enough, it could develop magical powers and become a spirit. In Chinese culture, it's thought that any living thing, or even objects, can gain a kind of spirit or magical energy if they exist for a very long time. The fox spirit fits perfectly into this way of thinking. The legend of the fox spirit dates back to ancient times, with its earliest mention found in the Classic of Mountains and Seas. It describes a creature with 9 tails living in the land of Xingqiu, which is believed to be the original inspiration for the fox spirit. Over the course of more than 2,000 years, this image has remained consistent. The most distinguishing feature of the fox spirit is its tails. Every 100 years of cultivation, it gains an additional tail. These tails symbolize not just age and power, but also the fox's level of cultivation. When a fox spirit grows its 9th tail, it signifies that it has reached full maturity. After 1,000 years of cultivation, the fox spirit becomes incredibly powerful, highly intelligent, and capable of seeing through people's thoughts. Its charm is so irresistible that ordinary people can hardly resist its influence. Typically, the fox spirit does not appear in its original form but transforms into a beautiful young woman. These women are breathtakingly beautiful, elegant, and radiate an otherworldly charm. Even without trying, they effortlessly captivate men. Some stories claim that fox spirits emit a sweet, enchanting fragrance to draw people closer, while less advanced ones might carry the natural, musky scent of a fox. Through years of cultivation, a fox can refine its transformation abilities, eventually becoming indistinguishable from a real human. With greater mastery, fox spirits can switch between forms seamlessly and without leaving any flaws. Beyond appearance, they can even change their voice and scent to blend in more convincingly. The fox spirit's ultimate goal is to seduce men, primarily to absorb their vital energy. In traditional Chinese thought, this vital energy, often specifically referring to a man's semen, was believed to sustain health, vitality, and even prolong life. For fox spirits, this energy acts as a crucial boost for their cultivation, helping them achieve immortality. Some fox spirits drain a man's energy all at once, leading to his death, while others may form long-term relationships, slowly depleting his essence and causing rapid aging. Less advanced fox spirits might not kill their victims, but still inflict harm by taking large amounts of energy. Legends describe victims being left with sticky residue around their mouths, though more skilled fox spirits leave no trace. Advanced fox spirits often aim higher than ordinary men, targeting individuals of influence and power. They use their charm to manipulate these figures, gaining access to wealth and resources. The most dangerous fox spirits may pursue political goals, leading to national instability or even the downfall of a kingdom. Despite their powers, fox spirits cannot always maintain their perfect human form. Under the glow of moonlight or in moments of intense emotion, their transformations may falter, revealing their true nature. Their ears may become pointed, their eye color may change, or their tails may appear, slipping out from beneath their garments. The phrase "revealing the fox's tail" comes from this idea, symbolizing the exposure of a deceiver's true nature. While fox spirits are formidable, they are not invincible. Traditional methods to counter them include wearing peachwood swords, using talismans, or praying and burning incense. These measures are said to weaken their powers and protect people. However, against a 1,000-year-old fox spirit, such methods are rarely effective, requiring skilled experts to defeat them. Though these stories are mythical, the dangerous image of the fox spirit remains deeply ingrained in Chinese culture. Whether in personal relationships or on a broader societal scale, vigilance and moral integrity are considered the strongest defenses against their allure and deception. In Chinese legends, the harm caused by fox spirits is often conveyed through stories. Among the most famous is Daji, a pivotal figure in the investiture of the gods. In the novel, Daji is depicted as a nine-tailed fox spirit who had cultivated for 1,000 years. At the command of the goddess Nuwa, she possessed the body of Su Daji and became the favorite consort of King Zhou of Shang. Nuwa orchestrated this as retribution for King Zhou's earlier offense against her. Using her beauty and cunning, Daji bewitched King Zhou, leading him to make disastrous decisions that ultimately brought about the fall of the Shang dynasty. Fox spirits appear prominently in Journey to the West as well. For example, the Bull Demon King was once happily married to Princess Iron Fan, but his relationship unraveled when the jade-faced fox spirit entered the picture. Using her seductive charm, the fox spirit caused the Bull Demon King to abandon his wife and live with her instead. In these stories, fox spirits not only bring ruin to nations or families, but often have goals beyond personal cultivation, stirring greater societal chaos. Throughout history, many infamous rulers have been linked to legends involving fox spirits. Figures like Morshi, Daji, Baosui, Qiaji, Zhao Feiyan, Zhao Hede, Zhengshi, Yang Xianrong, Lady Xianhua, and Empress Qiao were portrayed as fox spirits, with the decline of their states blamed on their supposed influence. Similarly, the rulers' poor judgment and incompetence were often attributed to their infatuation with these women. This narrative, however, is deeply flawed. Ancient China was a male-dominated society, and directly accusing a ruler of incompetence could be politically risky. To avoid this, writers often shifted the blame onto a beautiful woman, labeling her a fox spirit to divert attention from the ruler's failures. This tactic not only shielded those in power from criticism, but also preserved the ruler's public image while offering the masses a convenient explanation for a dynasty's downfall. At times, branding a woman as a fox spirit served political purposes. During times of dynastic change or fierce palace intrigue, rivals would use such stories to slander female allies of their enemies or their families. This strategy effectively weakened the opposition while appealing to the public, who were more likely to accept simplistic, sensationalized narratives. Beyond politics, these tales of fox spirits also served as moral warnings. By depicting women as using their beauty to ensnare men and cause calamities, storytellers aimed to warn future generations about the perils of succumbing to physical temptation. Over time, however, this narrative faced increasing skepticism. People began to realize that the success or failure of families and nations depended more on governance and morality than on the actions or existence of certain women. Blaming women entirely for such failures was clearly unjust. For women of exceptional beauty, their appearance often attracted unwelcome attention or harassment. Labeling them as fox spirits to excuse improper behavior only compounded the injustice. Such portrayals distorted historical truths and underscored the entrenched gender inequalities of the time, perpetuating harmful stereotypes about women. As the fox spirit narrative gradually lost its appeal, people's views on this mythical figure began to shift. In later stories and legends, fox spirits were no longer consistently portrayed as villains. Instead, they started to appear as positive characters, even becoming symbols of exceptional women in some tales. Pu Songling's Strange Tales from a Chinese Studio, written during the Qing dynasty, is filled with examples of this transformation. Characters like Hongyu, Xiaosui, and Yingning illustrate how the traditional image of the fox spirit evolved from a negative archetype into one of positivity and admiration. Hongyu is a fox spirit who has cultivated for many years and falls deeply in love with the scholar Feng at first sight. However, due to Feng's father's disapproval, Hongyu arranges a marriage for Feng and leaves quietly. Unexpectedly, the extraordinary beauty of Feng's new wife attracts malicious attention, resulting in the tragic downfall of his family. Despite the tragedy, Feng remains steadfast in his quest for justice. Moved by Feng's loyalty and sense of honor, Hongyu transforms into a heroic swordsman to avenge his family. In the end, she stays by Feng's side, and the two share a lifelong bond. Xiaosui, on the other hand, transforms into a young woman to repay the man who saved her mother's life. She marries his mentally impaired son, devoting herself to his care and assisting her benefactor in resolving numerous challenges. However, Xiaotoi's lively and outspoken nature clashes with the rigid expectations of feudal society, leading her benefactor to grow resentful of her. Heartbroken, Xiaotoi decides to leave after curing her husband's condition. Only after her departure does the benefactor recognize her remarkable virtues. With her husband's persistent efforts, Xiaotoi eventually returns, and the couple is joyfully reunited. Yuning captures hearts with her cheerful, innocent, and pure demeanor. As the child of a fox spirit, she grows up in the wilderness, free from human conventions, and often bursts into joyous laughter that makes her utterly charming. The scholar Wang, enchanted by Yuning, pursues her ardently and eventually wins her hand in marriage. Yuning brings endless joy to Wang's family, but the malicious intentions of others toward her beauty eventually lead to a legal dispute. The ordeal robs Yuning of her once unrestrained laughter. Her behavior, which defied the conventional norms for women of the time, revealed a deep sense of innocence and natural sincerity. These tales reimagine the fox spirit as a figure of intelligence, independence, bravery, and kindness, embodying qualities that even became aspirational for women in the rigid feudal society of the time. The fox spirit, in these stories, not only represents a woman's quest for love, but also critiques societal constraints and reflects a yearning for personal liberation. In this light, the fox spirit evolves from a feared monster into a symbol of aspiration and empowerment, much like how modern audiences revere superheroes as embodiments of their dreams and ideals. As the image of the fox spirit evolved in folklore, stories about them grew increasingly diverse. These tales shifted away from their traditional role as vehicles for moral instruction, instead embracing entertainment as their primary focus. Over time, fox spirits came to symbolize not only women's pursuit of freedom and individuality, but also male fantasies. For instance, some stories depict male scholars engrossed in late-night study sessions, only to be visited by a stunningly beautiful fox spirit. These visits often lead to a night of passionate intimacy. Such tales clearly reflect the fantasies of their authors or readers. In ancient China, studying for imperial examinations was an arduous and stressful process. The fantasy of being accompanied by a beautiful woman offered a welcome escape from the drudgery of their reality. This fantasy held particular appeal in a society where education was prohibitively expensive, often plunging scholars into poverty. The high costs of books, writing supplies, and travel to examination centers often left scholars in poverty, making it difficult for them to marry, and leaving them with little opportunity to interact privately with women. In this context, fox spirits and enchanting female ghosts became objects of romanticized daydreams. These tales illustrate the gradual transformation of the fox spirit's role, shifting from a simple tool for moral education to a medium for entertainment. The question of whether the fox spirit was truly harmful became irrelevant. Its role evolved into one of inspiring and satisfying human imagination. Despite the growing diversity in the depiction of fox spirits in stories, the perception of fox spirits in real life has remained largely unchanged. Even today, the term fox spirit, Hulijing, is commonly used as an insult toward women in modern China. It is still associated with women who are seen as temptresses, home-wreckers, and symbols of seduction, deceit, and infidelity, traits that have been deeply ingrained in its core meaning. Interestingly, only young and attractive women are ever at risk of being labeled as fox spirits. Women with less striking appearances rarely face such accusations. Moreover, it is almost exclusively women who use this term to insult others. Men seldom employ it. The persistence of fox spirit as an insult likely stems from the lasting influence of early negative portrayals, which have overshadowed the later, more positive depictions. For instance, characters like Daji, a classic symbol of destructive allure, are far better known than sympathetic figures like Hulijing or Yingning. A somewhat imperfect comparison might be that, although modern China is no longer impoverished or underdeveloped, some Westerners still cling to outdated stereotypes. This cognitive lag demonstrates the enduring power of negative imagery and its widespread cultural impact. However, with time and the revolutionary influence of modern media, these perceptions are beginning to shift. Today, fox spirits in films, television, literature, and video games are portrayed with increasing complexity and positivity. They have also reached audiences far beyond China, gaining recognition on a global scale. One notable example is the fox spirit featured in the Netflix anthology series Love, Death, and Robots. In the 8th episode of Season 1, Good Hunting, the fox spirit is reimagined in a way that fuses traditional mythology with modern themes. The protagonist, Liang, is a descendant of nine-tailed foxes. As industrialization progresses, her mystical powers diminish, forcing her to undergo mechanical enhancements. This transition redefines her from a mystical figure of ancient folklore to a modern character grappling with technological oppression. Liao's story illustrates the evolution of the fox spirit from a natural mythical being to a symbol of modern struggle. Her perseverance and defiance against oppression highlight her inner strength. In the end, Liang uses her mechanical body to exact revenge, demonstrating her intelligence and courage while symbolizing how individuals can adapt and find new sources of power in the face of societal transformation. The fox spirit, a figure rooted in ancient Chinese mythology, has evolved over time from a dangerously seductive demon into a rich, multifaceted symbol in modern culture. It embodies traditional warnings about temptation and destruction, while simultaneously serving as a canvas for envisioning freedom, courage, and individuality. In the modern era, the fox spirit has transcended its origins as a mythical creature, evolving into a tool for examining the intricacies of human nature and transitioning from the context of feudal society to narratives of science fiction and industrialization. Each transformation of the fox spirit reflects broader societal changes and evolving psychological needs. Whether stemming from a fear of nature, a means of shirking responsibility, fulfilling male fantasies, or expressing female independence, the fox spirit remains a creation of human imagination, embodying humanity's aspirations and anxieties about love, desire, power, and the future. As this ancient figure continues to adapt to modern storytelling, it becomes more humanized yet retains its core essence. Ultimately, it originates from human imagination and reflects humanity's desires and contradictions, for human nature has never changed.